The upstate of South Carolina seems to no longer be a best kept secret of places to live, relocate to, and love. There are a number of amazing folks that have chosen to relocate here over the last several years, and we've helped many of those families do just that. A question I get often is, hey Will, how's the market? Are you fearful that the market might drop 20%, or are there just too many people moving to Greenville? Or are prices at their peak? Well, in this video, we are going to answer those questions and discuss the 2025 housing market year to date in the Greenville and Lake Keowee area. We will first hit the broad strokes and cover the real estate market at a national level and what factors are influencing the economy and the housing market at scale. And then we will also get very granular at the local level, where we will cover the stats that are relevant to you in making an informed decision when you need to purchase a house. Because I believe an educated client is an informed client who can make a decision when they need to make it. Now, we truthfully could make this video 30 to 45 minutes long if we covered every single thing at a high level of detail, but I'm gonna do my best to keep it 10 to 15 minutes. So stick around until the end because you are not gonna wanna miss any of this. Let's do it. As always, my friends, my name is Will Sawyer, your friend in real estate here in the upstate of South Carolina, and it's our goal with this channel that we are your #1 resource for all the things that you need to know about your relocation to Greenville or Lake Keowee. We aim to provide you with the most relevant, the most reliable, the most practical, and the most data-driven information that you can find or can't find on the internet. And if you do decide to relocate to the upstate of South Carolina, I would love to be the realtor that you choose to work with. My team and I helped over 100 families in 2024, and we would love to help you and yours in 2025 and beyond. So first up, let's talk about the national housing market and the national economy. And first up, let's talk about trade. At a national level, there is quite a bit of uncertainty with trade policy and subdued GDP growth, which has dropped consumer sentiment quite a bit. Folks aren't spending as much money as they have been, and it's forced many people to focus on what is important to them and save where they can. President Trump's trade war has caused quite the unrest, I would say. One, emotionally, and two, economically, with the stock market dropping and rising, and Americans not knowing what is going to come next. And while I think the trade policies will hopefully be of net benefit to our economy and nation as a whole, it has certainly challenged the mental fortitude of Americans, both left, right, and center. And next, some economic risks of 2025 are, of course, unpredictable policy with the new administration, but there's also immigration and regulation and spending, which are key components as well. The threat of natural disasters is also an important factor, with rising insurance costs across the board, and the threat of international conflict, which hopefully remains at bay. But what is actually pertinent to real estate? Well, of course, number one is the price of real estate. Number two is the cost of money. And of course, number three is employment. So let's talk about number one, real estate prices. So at a national level, we are only about 9 to 10% higher of where we should be price-wise from a historical trendline perspective. People often say that, gosh, real estate prices are astronomically high, and well, that really just isn't the case. We've seen certain markets across the country start to correct themselves, places like Florida, where there is a record number of listings right now sitting on the market, and markets like Austin, Texas, or Boise, Idaho, both COVID hotbeds where droves and droves of people relocated to as COVID broke out. Number two, let's talk about the cost of borrowing money. So interest rates in the last 2 years have hovered, generally speaking, where they are now in that plus or minus 7% range. They dipped down to the low to mid sixes last year, but here recently have climbed back up to right around 7% for a 30-year fixed mortgage. If you compare that to just a few years ago when you could get a mortgage for 2 to 3%, this has come as sticker shock to buyers who are looking to purchase a home for now, one, more money price-wise than they would have paid a few years ago, and 2, the cost of borrowing money to buy that home being over 100% more from a monthly cost perspective. Inflation has come down quite a bit to roughly 2.5%, which has significantly improved, and we hope to see interest rates settle back into the low 6s, if not the high 5 range, which I believe will boost affordability from a monthly perspective and help absorb the rising housing inventory count. And third, let's talk about employment. So as COVID broke out in 2020, we saw a record number of job openings, right around 21 million, which put the economy at a stalemate. Very quickly, the economy recovered and people adapted to a more flexible work schedule with working from home or on a hybrid schedule, and job openings sharply decreased. Today, there are only about 7 million job openings and roughly 7 million unemployed people, so there isn't much of a delta there at all, which is good for the economy. So in summary, for these broad stroke national level economic indicators and housing market indicators, employment is a number to always look at, as well as job openings. And we will see how immigration policy unfolds and how that could potentially affect the cost of building houses, as well as trade policy, which will affect revenue for the government, prices of goods, and more. So now let's transition to the Greenville market. So far in 2025, the Greenville, South Carolina housing market is moving along quite well. Year to date, the average sales price in the Greenville market is up roughly 5.5% at $390,000, and the median price is up roughly 1.3% at $330,000. I think we've seen the average price of homes increase much higher than the median sales price because there's more luxury inventory today than there has been in years past. And subsequently, there's more luxury sales than there have been in years past. The number of closed home sales are up 9.4% year to date, and interestingly enough, inventory is up a staggering 44% from this time last year. Currently, we are sitting at roughly 4 months of inventory, which is still technically to the seller's advantage, but it is creeping up to a balanced market, and it will be a balanced market once we hit that 5 to 6 month mark of inventory. And I think this is an interesting point to focus on. What one would expect is that as inventory or housing supply rises, demand would inversely fall, and that isn't the case here in our market in Greenville. It goes to show you that the demand for housing in Greenville is so strong that inventory rising is actually a good thing for the market as a whole, and as we have settled into our interest rate environment, where I foresee us being for the next year or two, and buyers have accepted that they can go ahead and buy the right house for them today at a lower price than they otherwise would pay in, say, 2 years when interest rates are hopefully back in that low 6 or high 5 range. I think this is a smart strategy, and you've likely heard the saying before, marry the house and date the rate. So in my opinion, go ahead, lock in the house you love at a price you're willing to pay now, at a monthly payment that is comfortable for you to afford on a monthly basis, and when rates drop in the future, you'll have the pleasure of 1, having a home that is worth more than it is today, and 2, a monthly payment that is even more affordable than it was when you bought the home. That's a win-win. So what factors are influencing this high demand, both really in the Greenville and Lake Keowee market? 1 is net migration. 2 is demographic trends, and 3 is monetary policy, which we covered in our first section of the video. So let's talk about net migration and demographic trends for a second. So first up, net migration. We have in Greenville and on Lake Keowee a net migration of folks leaving the state that they live in and moving to the southeast, and specifically the upstate of South Carolina. For all the reasons we've discussed in the other videos on our channel, and please go watch those, Greenville has become such a desirable place over the last 20 years to live, and people are realizing that they can, 1, buy affordable housing here, 2, they can have access to pretty much every amenity that they need right here in the upstate, locally, from large box stores like Costco, Sam's, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, and 3, live in a city that emphasizes wellness and park space, and as a cherry on top, add the fact that they will likely just be a 1 to 3 hour drive to places like the Blue Ridge Mountains or the beach or Charlotte or Atlanta. And secondly, let's talk about demographic trends. Many of the folks that we work with are 1, empty nesters or in retirement, or they're at least entering that next phase of life. They're not strapped to the place that they've lived for the last 5 to 25 years, and they're ready for their next adventure, and they see the Upstate, be it Lake Keowee or Greenville, as the next place that they want to live. And our clients who are still working are either relocating here for work due to many employers now calling the Upstate home, or these folks have the flexibility to work from home or at least on a hybrid schedule. And they also don't have to live in the place that they've been strapped to in the past. And an interesting fact to know is 1 in every 2 people who move to Greenville are over the age of 50. And yet the average age of someone living in the area is just under 40. So this is a great place to 1, retire, or 2, work and raise your family. All right, so now let's talk about the Lake Keowee real estate market year to date in 2025. So first I'll break down the lake as a whole, and then I'll exclusively talk about lakefront properties. So far this year, 307 properties have come to the market on or around the lake. The average sales price for homes that have sold is $1.6 million. Comparing that to the average list price of $1.7 million. So we are seeing homes trade at an average of about 96.5% of list price. Now, if you compare this data to last year, as of this time in 2024, only 286 properties had come to market on or around the lake. The average sales price as of this point last year was just over $1.3 million with an average list price of $1.38 million. So last year we were seeing homes trade at a bit stronger of a percentage at roughly 97% of list price. Now, one would think that the market is softening a bit on the lake, but I'm not seeing that. What I observe is that, yes, prices are rising, but so is inventory, which has given buyers more options and likely giving them more negotiating power than they had, say, 12 to 18 months ago. Also keep in mind, so far this year in 2025, we've seen 2 record sales on the lake for just over $9 million and just over $10 million, which is pushing that average sales price up for 2025. The median sales price so far this year is just over $1.2 million, and comparing that to last year, which was $1.1 million. So we are seeing about a 9% increase in median prices as well. Now for lakefront properties, 156 homes have come to market so far in 2025. The average sales price so far this year is just over $2.3 million. And comparing that to the average list price of $2.4 million, we are seeing homes trade at about 95.7% of list price on the water. So if you're a buyer looking for lakefront property, I think your minimum budget needs to be roughly $1.5 million. And I say that because the far majority of properties that sell on the water are above that mark. But keep in mind, there is a caveat to that. There is a fair amount of inventory on the water that will sell in that $1.2 to $1.5 million range as well. So I hope all of that information was helpful in keeping you up to speed on our local market here in the upstate of South Carolina, be it Greenville or Lake Keowee. And if you are thinking about relocating to either of those markets, I would love to be the realtor that you choose to work with. So please give me a call at my cell phone number below, or shoot me an email at my email below. I would love to help you and yours get to the upstate in the coming months. As always, my friends, my name is Will Sawyer, your friend in real estate here in the upstate of South Carolina. And until next time, stay safe. Well, this video is going to be about Greenville County, the upstate of South Carolina. Great thing to do and easily in the evening. I'm a local real estate expert here in the area. All the time, we're right behind me is a really cool place called Freight Yard.